What's going on, guys? This is the real Mad Hollow here, and I am here to talk today about, and this, by the way, welcome to the Learner's Circle. This is a series about where I just teach a little bit of basics about Dark Souls, and the basic today that we're going to be teaching about is called infusions. For those who don't know what infusions are, that's where you take a weapon that you really like, and then you can add basically a specific stat, or not stat, specific maybe element, or maybe you want a weapon to, instead of scaling with a certain like strength stat, you can make it scale with dexterity. So over here is Andre. This is the guy that you need to talk to. He's your blacksmith that will do your infusions for you. In order to do certain infusions, you will need different types of coals. You will get the coals throughout the adventure of your game. So you just got to go out and find those. They'll end up over here in your key items. So we're going to talk a little bit about infusions, and by the way, reinforcement will also cover that as well, for those who don't know reinforcement, how reinforcement works. Reinforcements, you usually take about Titanite shards for the basic, which takes, I believe, 2, 4, 6. And then to take it from +4, that, by the way, that'll take it to +3. So it'll go +1, +2, +3 for 2, 4, and 6. To go to large Titanite, that'll take it from +4 to +6. Will also be 2, 4, 6, meaning that you need 2 Titanite, 4 Titanite, and then 6 Titanite. So altogether, you need about 12 of the little, 12 of the large, and then 12 chunks. And chunks will take it from +7? Yeah, +7 all the way to +9. Same thing, 2, 4, 6. Some weapons take Twinkling Titanite. Some weapons take Titanite Scale. Those are usually boss weapons or special weapons. Like for instance, like I said, boss weapons, and then like certain shields, and then as well as like weapons like the Black Knight Halberd will take Titanite Scales or Twinkling Titanite. And then finally, you need Titanite Slabs, and Titanite Slabs is to round a weapon off to +10. And every weapon, even the smaller weapons, like for instance the Moonlight Greatsword, which is a special weapon or a boss made weapon, you will need 1 Titanite Slab just to take it to its max level, which is +5. But now on to infusions, the original topic we came here today. If you notice, I have several different types of items here for infusions. What do they all do? What do you do with them? So basically, the way infusions work, the way infusion works is if you want a weapon to hit to stay with a specific stat, you will pick a specific type of gem. To do that, again, like I said, you need coals. Those coals you can get throughout the game. You will take them back to Andre, and then give them to Andre, and then Andre will take those coals, and then you can do the infusions. How you get to the infusion menu is you will talk to him, and then you will go below reinforcement to the infuse. You will pick a weapon, and then you will go through the different infusions that you have available. Again, depending which coal that you have is what infusions are available. So let's talk about what types of infusions there are. There's what's known as what I like to call standard infusions. For instance, like heavy gems or sharp gems, which basically a heavy gem will infuse a weapon to add just to make a weapon a strength weapon. For instance, if you want a great sword that generally does decent on strength to do even more on strength, you will give it a heavy gem. It'll get rid of its ability to scale, usually with dex. Actually, it almost always gets rid of dex, but it scales completely with strength, so you can just pump points into the strength stat and it'll do more damage. Same thing with the sharp gem, but it does it for dex, getting rid of the strength stat. Refined gem splits it down the middle for strength and dexterity. So, and different weapons benefit differently from these, so it's wise to experiment and just find different weapons and find what works and what doesn't work. A raw gem basically completely gets rid of the scaling on any weapon. So, for instance, if you were to take a weapon, say like, this heavy murky hand scythe, which is strength stat based, you can give it a raw, and when you do that, it basically gets rid of the scaling altogether. So as you can see, it has a CEE scaling. It'll completely get rid of all three of those. All three of those will be blank, and it'll just give a flat damage amount, which is usually great for low-level builds and low-level invasion builds. So,
Pretty be careful.
Wrong menu. Let's see here. Let's get back and take a look here. So that's what Raw does. And those are kind of, like I said, basically the what I like to call the basic infusions, because they other than taking like the coal, there's really not much depth to them, not much craziness to them. They're pretty like standard. You pick either your strength or dexterity stat, the two basic stats, and you can use them. Or say for instance the raw gem, which completely gets rid of everything and just goes with a flat base, which is useful for certain weapons. Next up there are what's known as what I like to call like simple infusions. And simple infusions are, for instance, like this simple gem here, which adds scaling. They kind of act like the raw gem, where they get rid of the scaling on the weapons, but they give it a simple element or a simple flat damage with an element. For instance, in this case, the simple gem will add magic damage, a flat magic damage. You won't scale any stats off of it, but it will give it magic damage and then the basic physical damage, and that weapon will be based off of it. The fire gem here, same thing. It's a basic gem, so therefore it will give flat base fire damage and flat base physical damage, but that's all that will be there. There will be no scaling, so you'll just have a little bit of fire damage. It's great to have for early on. Later on, you might want to upgrade to something more powerful. The deep gem is another one of those as well. I also and so is the blessed gem. However, with the blessed gem, actually, just a real quick note. Bless does still have scaling. I want that to be known. Bless still have scaling, but the thing with Bless is, Bless makes it great against like skeletons and enemies who regenerate and come back to life, like undead enemies rather. And then also Blessing also adds a small little like niche little feature where it makes it to where you slowly get a slow heal over time. And then the simple gem gives FP over time. Not any of the other really weapons do that. So these two individual gems, or these two, not many gems do this. These two gems in specific have that little extra feat where they either regenerate FP or they regenerate HP. So, you know, there is that little nugget for you. And then next up, on top of that, you have what's known as what I like to call the heavy infusions. And the heavy infusions are the heavy infusions are basically the big brother of the simple infusions. The heavy infusion, for instance, like the crystal gem, it creates a crystal weapon, and that makes it scale with effectively with intelligence. Another one, for instance, is chaos. Chaos is still fire damage, just like the fire gem, but this time it makes it scale with intelligence and faith. This is kind of like the bigger brother. You can do this one, you can do the fire gem from the beginning of the game. In fact, you can actually get the fire gem as a gift from the beginning of the game, and you can use it straight up when you get to Andre. This chaos gem, while it is a better version of the fire gem, this chaos gem requires you to go get a coal and come back to Andre in order to infuse this awesome gem onto a weapon. And this gem is very powerful, one of the more powerful gems that you can get. Lightning, same thing, makes it scale with faith, does lightning damage. There's also a dark gem which makes it scale with darkness, or makes it scale with intelligence and faith, and it does dark damage, not scales with darkness. There's also other gems like the poison, the blood gem, which scales with, for instance, this basically makes it to where enemies can bleed more. It's really great with daggers, spears, things like that. The poison gem, it basically makes it to where gems do poison. And then there's the really odd gem that is the hollow gem, which basically makes things scale with luck. And then also, if you are hollow, it also does more damage, meaning that you have to become hollow in the first place in order to make this weapon, or make this gem really effective. So those are basically the bigger ones. There are other bigger ones that you might run into in the game. I don't remember them all correctly, but there is a lot of different gems in the game, so, you know, it's wise to experiment and go do it. And then finally here is what's known as a shriving stone, or shriving stone. Basically, if you have a weapon that you want to get the infusion off of it, this will completely take away its infusion. So some people, like, you know, they'll be doing dark damage and they want to do a different build, but you want to keep the same weapon. You will use a shriving stone on an infused weapon and it'll get rid of the infusion on there, so you don't have to worry about the infusion anymore. With that said, I'll show you a basic infusion here. So you go here, find a weapon that we really like, find a weapon that we want to infuse, different types of weapons here. And by the way, if it's black, if you can infuse it, it will not be on this list, because I actually have way more weapons than that, but certain items cannot be infused, so make a note of that. Certain items just can't be infused. Catalysts usually cannot be infused. Pyromancy hands cannot be infused. Bows cannot be infused. So just be aware that bows you cannot infuse. Catalysts cannot be infused. Shields can be infused. Not all of them, but shields can be. Like I said, when you go to infusions, it'll be up here. If it's not on this list, then it cannot be infused. So you go ahead and you pick an item to infuse. Let's say, for instance, I have all these Karthus curved swords. We're going to click on a Karthus curved sword. You're going to go through the different infusions, and if you notice here on the list, it'll show you on there what the scaling will happen when you do it. For instance, using Refined Gem takes the Karthus sword, instead of scaling in D&D, even though this has not been upgraded, it will drop the damage down, but it will make it scale C and C with dexterity and C with strength, and it'll give a bigger bonus in damage because of that. Here's the raw version. If you notice, there's no more scaling. It says it got rid of scaling. But it gave a flat of 120 damage. Instead of being like the 176 that it is, it'll take it down to 120 damage, which again, this is great for low-level builds. It's not great for just in general. Here is a crystal. As you notice here, it lowers the strength scaling. It makes the dexterity scaling go down a little bit. Not enough to change letters, but it will raise intelligence scaling and add magic damage. Here is the simple gem. By the way, as a small little note, I did get it wrong. It's still, for simple gems, it does keep scaling. Again, it gives FP regeneration and does magic damage, but it's a weaker version, and it also gives FP regeneration. It does do scaling, but as you notice, it lowers both of those scalings, not enough to change letters, and does add intelligence scaling. Here is the fire gem. As I said before, this is one of those gems that actually does get rid of scaling, but adds fire damage. Here is the chaos gem. Here's lightning, blessed, deep, dark, bleed, and of course hollow. So if you've noticed with the bleed, and there's actually one gem that's not on here, you've noticed the poison gem, the poison infusion is not on here because I do not have the coal for that yet. I can go get it, it's somewhere in the game, but I do not have it, so therefore I cannot infuse with it right now. So you pick an item that you want to infuse, let's say lightning damage, you hit this, you hit OK, and now I have a lightning Karthus sword. So this is a Karthus sword and it's lightning now, so that when I wield it, it will do lightning damage. And then also, by the way, we'll go ahead and click on, say, like this, heavy murky hand scythe, and I'll go down here to the shriving stone, hit it. It'll ask me if I want to just make it a normal murky hand scythe. I can hit yes. Ta-da! It is not a normal murky hand scythe. Also, this does require souls, so both of these actually require, and as you can see here, there's an amount that they cost to infuse them and to uninfuse them. So there is the uninfusion, 650, say, for this refined Mailbreaker, so you know how much it costs. And as you can see here now, we'll go ahead and find the Karthus sword. Here is the lightning Karthus sword. Go ahead and pull this out, and it is now lightning damage. So we'll roll over here to the good old waifu. I know this is probably going to hurt some of you all, but if you notice here, it does lightning damage now. As you can see, the lightning damage popping off of her. Sorry, I didn't mean to abuse you, but there's that. But it now does lightning damage. All the other attacks stay the same, but again, it is infused with lightning damage. Alright, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Learner Circle. I'm Mad Hollow. Appreciate you all. If there's anything that you all don't know and would like to learn, please go ahead and put it down in the comment section and let me know. Alright, I'll talk to you all later. Peace out. Bye.